All right, looks like we're live. I'm not going to bother with the music. Just going to go ahead and get Steele in here.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going? Well, we're live, just so you know. So
Oh, we are. Oh
don't,
God.
keep the
Wait. Oh, is my camera? I gotta pull my pants up. My
keep the
camera's.
yeah. Yeah, I got to close all my Kim Possible porn tabs.
Ah, jeez.
I got like
God damn it,
fucking
Chris! You
70
didn't
of
tell
them
me
open
this.
too.
How you doing, brother?
Oh, not bad. Not bad. We had a wicked thunderstorm here about just like 20, 30 minutes ago. It calmed down, I guess. But I mean,
Lightning?
we get them
Lightning?
all the time in Central PA. I mean, they're not, but ones where it's like just going on and going on and going on. Those are the ones where you know, like the power was flickering off. I was getting tornado warnings on the phone.
Like I keep telling you, Chris, you got to move out of that trailer park. You know, it's it's not safe.
One of them probably hit somewhere in this neighborhood. It had to have been close. It was. I had the lights on down here, and it still kind of lit up the room through the fucking window.
There was actually a storm here. I think it was 2 years ago, and it set a record for the most lightning strikes. We have, Seattle is a space needle. I mean, you never seen
Mm-hmm.
it real life. You've seen the pictures of it. And it set a record. Like the thing was hit like something like 380 times with lightning bolts. There were some kick-ass pictures of it being because it's basically a giant lightning rod, and there was some kick-ass pictures of it being hit. And one of the things I love about thunder showers is like when you go outside after it's over, is the smell of ozone. You know that
Mm-hmm.
O3 that the lightning creates. I love that smell. It just smells like I don't know napalm in the morning.
I remember a few years ago, I was living with my girlfriend at the time, but her and I were both house sitting my parents' house for Thanksgiving weekend, and they had a pretty nice house at the time. And not only that, but the one neighbor was away and said we could use their pool, like not pool, the hot tub. And
Mm.
so we're in their backyard in their hot tub, and it starts raining, and then we're like, who cares? You're in a hot tub, you're already wet, you know. We literally just pushed the towels and all under the umbrella. Well, it starts thundering like crazy, and a pair of us, because you're young and invincible, we're like, fuck it, I don't care. Like just lightning storm like crazy. Now, in all fairness, there was really tall woods, like really tightly up against this, not even a particularly big yard. So the odds of us getting struck were pretty slim. But
Mm.
you're young, you're stupid. You're like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. We're fooling around in a hot tub. We can't care.
Yeah, probably not the smartest thing, but like you said, you were. I'm guessing this was like in your early 20s, right? You're
Oh yeah, I
invincible.
couldn't have been. I probably 22 at the oldest.
Right. Okay.
But
All right.
I'm like, you think maybe we should like, you know, head back and she's like, the trees are tall. I'm like, I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue
Maybe
with
I
that.
should take off this metal watch.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
That's okay. Well, I mean, speaking of lightning though, there's a weird. I don't know if you ever watch those weird podcasts and stuff like the unexplained or There's one of them I subscribe to. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but like there's this one chick that's been hit by lightning like 5 times. Like there's something about her biology that makes her like a human lightning rod.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like they don't. I mean, they can't because the odds of being struck by lightning, well, twice or once is like whatever. But to be struck by lightning like how many times? It's like basically that's like statistically impossible. I mean, that would be like winning the Powerball like 5 weeks in a row. It just can't happen.
I mean, generally speaking, you kind of have to be in the middle of. You kind of have to be far away from other tall things, like for the most part. Like you kind of got to be the tallest thing sticking out in that area. One of the biggest problems, though, is if something close to you is struck by lightning, that
Yeah.
could,
Oh yeah. It could take. Yeah. I mean, if you're like
a
within
shock wave could blind or deaf you, or or in some cases it travel right through the ground.
Yeah, like there's been cases like people who were many feet away who've gotten severely injured by that. And I mean, I don't know a lot about this, but I do know you don't have to be directly struck by it for it to be potentially deadly.
Somebody in the chat, John Steele said he'll do an AMA for any super chats we get. So
Yes, yes. This is
ask him anything for a
and
super
all
chat.
super chat and for clarifications, all super chats go to the Bedglov.
Yep.
Because he needs a new lightning rod.
Yeah,
He needs a
I
new
want to
lightning rod to put outside his hot tub.
I want to go golfing in a medieval suit of armor. That's my new plan.
We should have Luke draw a picture of that you being hit with the lightning.
Like the
Remember the
priest
scene
in
from
Caddyshack? Yes,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just thinking.
He goes, God damn it! He gets lit up.
I think we got a while before the heavy stuff starts. That's such a great movie.
That was a great movie. I
That's
like where
easily in my top 10 like ever for movies.
when he's washing the golf balls, but like the brushes are the bushes are hiding it, and it looks like he's jacking off as he's watching the old women
Yes.
golf.
Oh, God, yeah, that movie's great.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I like one of my favorite scenes, and it's kind of an underrated scene. People don't talk about it too much. Is when he's telling one of the caddies about the time that he caddied for the Dalai Lama.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? And he's like,
Yeah, he's like, I'll have inner peace, so I got that going for me.
yeah, I got that. But he's like, big hitter, Lama, big hitter. A lot of people don't know that. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, then we're finished, and he didn't give me anything. And I'm like, hey, Lama, how about something for the effort there, eh?
Uh, everybody talks about Bill Murray or Chevy Chase or Dangerfield in that movie, but honestly,
That night.
Ted Knight really fucking he arguably makes that movie. Certainly the Dangerfield bits. Like with the Dangerfield bits really would have fallen flat. With I mean, I love Rodney Dangerfield, but some of his later movies really show you that if he doesn't have a good Ted Knight type to play off of,
He's a
he
foil.
gets annoying.
Is that what you call it, a foil? Is that the right word?
Yeah, like Rodney Dangerfield kind of has to be annoying someone else in the movie, or he'll start to annoy the audience. Was kind of always his thing, at least in my opinion. And Ted Knight, I used to point all the time when Trump was rising up through the Republican Party that so much of the internal opposition basically amounted to Ted Knight's hatred of Rodney Dangerfield in that movie. Like it was just that stuffy old guard, hating a flamboyant goofball.
Right. You're making me remember the scene where he had who's the star, like the kid, the blonde-haired kid.
Oh, I don't remember either the character or actor's name.
Yeah. Anyway, so he has to go over the because Ted Knight played a judge, and he's like, so the guy goes into his office, and Ted Knight has his back to him, and he's like, sit down. The kid's already in the seat, and then he goes, I understand. He goes, many a times I have to send kids your age to the electric chair.
I didn't want to do it. I felt I owed it to him.
Yeah, it's a great movie. For any of you youngins out there who haven't seen that flick,
But Ted Knight's character is such a great example of, I don't want to say like social conservatism in itself, but that temperament, that type of person, where it's such a great parody of that. And then playing that against Ren. That movie was supposed to be about all the caddies and shit like that, and it's barely about them. Like that movie is like 3 or 4 movies just taking place parallel to one another. It's almost an anthology. It's like a poorly structured anthology movie, really. And like Caddyshack shouldn't work. When you look at Caddyshack on paper, it sounds like a fucking disaster of a film. It really does. There's barely a plot. There's just shit that happens, and then we're done. But damn, that, like I said, one of my top 10 ever.
Oh yeah, that movie. If that comes on, I watch it. It's just that came out in what 70.
I think it came out in 80.
Oh, okay, all
I think it was. I think it was right at 80.
right. What was this? Oh yeah, one of my favorite because the Bill Murray scenes always stick in my mind. I'm a huge Bill Murray fan, but I mean there was other great stuff in that movie as well. But when the the groundskeeper tells Bill Murray, he goes, he had that Scottish accent. He goes, "I want you to kill every single golfer on this course." And he goes, "If I kill all the golfers, they'll lock me up and throw away the keys."
It's not my fault. No one understands what you're saying. You stupid foreigner.
Yeah.
There's that the Ghostbuster comic over at IDW. It has like a multiverse thing as one of the ongoing plot threads, and there's just like this scene where they're talking about like how some people in different universes just look like other people even though they're different people. And somebody goes, "Yeah, there was one universe we saw where a guy that looked just like Venkman was arrested for blowing up a golf course."
Right. Go for like the Viet Cong. God, classic movie. Oh, Dashing Rogue. Is this the AMA for John or you?
Yeah, he was asking that earlier.
Okay, well, it's for me. I don't know if Chris is up for an AMA, but I'll answer.
No, I don't.
I don't know if we want to. I don't know if the channel might get deleted if Chris answers and everything. Honestly,
It might get deleted by me immediately
then.
afterwards.
Yeah. So but you can ask me anything. So what do we got? Everybody's got to send a, what, at least $2 or something, or
$1.
$1. Okay, we do it $1.
The
We do
Streamlabs is
$1.
fine. $1.
So Dashing, if you're the first one to comment. If you want to throw a buck, I'll answer anything. I'm not giving you my phone number or anything like that, but
Yeah,
I'll do my best.
what's the last four of your social security number?
Yeah, right.
It's like that voiceover Pete. I'm just gonna need the digits on the front of your credit card number, the expiration date, and the 3-digit code on the back,
Then you'd be set.
or else the free folk will fail in saving the West.
Oh God, yeah. I'll even answer questions about what little I know about the free folk. I'm not an expert on them, but
Why are they
I'll
gay?
I'll I'll do my best to answer that. I got to thank Bedglov for all his prayers to his Jewish God for saving me from the Shimi curse. Uh, you know, so
Oh,
uh,
that still makes me laugh because imagine if you did have such powers, and all you ever did with them was curse people who were made you mad on the internet.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, if Davis had such powers, I mean, he'd be spending all day praying and to whatever their evil god was, or having Hadron Collider cast spells. I don't know.
So, did you hear the thing about what Tariq Nasheed did here recently? So he put out, I guess I don't even know if the quote unquote documentary is out yet, but he put out a trailer for it. He put out a documentary called Buck Breaking,
Well,
and his thesis is that in slavery times, um, white slave owners used to constantly fuck black guys in the ass to break them,
I think I heard this a long time ago.
which he doesn't really have a lot for, other than I assume some stories he's jerked off to. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that. I mean, I do know that white slave owners used to rape the women.
I mean,
But
I'm sure it happened like once. I mean, I'm sure somewhere in all the times, like, yeah, that probably.
well, I mean, why would you do that if you had all these black women? I mean,
I'm sure one of them was secret. What, like, you could probably point to one time this happened, and that doesn't make it a historical trend. You know what I mean? Like, he just he's putting it out there like that was just what people did. Like that was just how things were. And I'm like, I don't
no,
think that was
because
that common.
the breaking of the slaves was actually, from what I understanding of it was, I mean, it's pretty fucked up. Is they used to actually have other blacks break their own but they didn't do it by fucking them. They whipped them.
Tariq Nasheed is quite the lol cow. so it's quite fun. He's the
Yeah.
guy that was on a debate with Jarrett Taylor a couple years ago, and he started going on about his dick.
No, I didn't see that.
He started going on about my dick and black guys have bigger dicks and black black genes are aren't recessive, so we can rape all your women. He starts going off about this weird like porno blog fantasy
Oh, I think I did see that debate.
in the middle of a debate, and Jared
I don't
Taylor's just
remember the
sitting there. Just,
Madick shit, but I do,
what's
you
going
know.
on about my dick? Ah,
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine Jared Taylor. You know, he's a real kind of stuffed shirt kind of a guy.
he was trying so hard. Some people in the chat are saying Tariq's is troll. I don't know. I think Tariq is just genuinely a crazy person. I mean, he
Yeah,
could be a troll. Who knows? But it's a hell of an act if it's an act.
yeah. For him to keep it up this long, he might
It's
sincerely.
it's some Andy Kaufman shit if that's an act.
Yeah. Most of the chat are not going to get that though. They're not.
Like
They don't
like
remember it.
one day he's just gonna pull a mask off and it's gonna be like a white dude underneath or something. Like I mean, crazier things have happened, but I don't think so.
It's possible, but I just think he's kind of just a nut job. I mean, I'm surprised Jared Taylor, because I mean, Jared Taylor's been like on CNN and shit like that. I'm surprised he even engaged with that guy.
I miss all the internet blood sport stuff, like the heyday of it when it was just wild, when it was
Yeah, for
just
about a month, and then it got fucking.
two two lunatics just you could get, and don't get me wrong, like you had to have time. Like I watched the highlights. Like internet blood sports to me was the same as like watching hockey. Like I ain't got time to watch just whole games. Like just show me the highlights. You know what
Show
I
me
mean?
the
Just
fights.
yeah, show me. Let's break it down afterward. So yeah, I watched the clip channels mostly, but some of that shit was bonkers, man.
Yeah, I guess like that kind of stuff is like it's kind of like the way I feel about like potty humor. Like a fart joke is funny once, and then it's not. You know what I mean? That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
how I feel about. I mean that that's just me though. Like some people enjoy that like that internet blood sports type shit. Like they really thrive on it. But to me, it's like it was really popular for a while. It super peaked. There was a bunch of channels doing all these different versions of it, and then you know, it's just gone. I mean, I guess it is still around
I
somewhere.
mean, yeah, it's still so many of the guys just. I mean, a couple of them, like Ralph, is a good example of a guy that really got just censored into who knows what platform he's hiding on now. You know what I mean? But some of the guys just spectacularly self-destructed. Like, I mean, Tonka.
Oh God, I remember that. Yeah. Apparently the
Like,
guy's fucking semi-paralyzed, and he
and
was.
it really is amazing. It's like Medicare said once. It's like once you get, if you're doing blood sports, if you get to a certain level where guests are coming to you, it's really just no work at that point. It's literally just bring two idiots on, have them scream at each other, read the super chats, call it a night. That's it. That's all you got to do. And,
Yeah,
there's the potential to rake in 3, 4 digits a night.
you could literally turn off the sound on your fucking headset and watch a sitcom. Just
Yeah,
like
you
music.
you could you could be sitting there fucking jerking off for all anyone else cares. You're literally just brought out the freak show and people are throwing down their nickels. Um, but
And,
some people just couldn't seem to handle that.
well, I mean, one of the things I remember having this conversation a long time ago with Matt Forney, and I said, you know what really shocks me about people who have a big internet presence is, well, you know this, right? I mean, and you don't. It's not like you have a huge internet presence, but you've been around for a while, and you've had interactions with many people that do have big internet presence. You can't have it if you're going to be someone with the channel and you're speaking opinions about things. You cannot have a thin skin. If
Oh no,
if you're you can't it's there's no way you can have a thin skin and be on the internet as far as I'm concerned because it just won't work. And
you have to be able to roll with stuff.
some of these motherfuckers are the thinnest skinned people. I mean, I was shocked at how thin skinned they were. I just couldn't get over it.
Yeah, you have to. It's always ego with these guys. It's always thin skin. You know, and then they start blocking out people. They start blocking anybody that criticizes them. They start getting into a hug box, and all that does is just make them go more bonkers. You know what I mean? It just like nobody's calling you're on bullshit. So you just most people can't handle being in a situation where no one can call you on bullshit. Like it's a very very rare person who can handle that, and you just start to spiral.
Well, actually, I wonder if it's more complicated than that. I wonder if it's something about people who are that seek out this kind of fame and notoriety, by definition, have a thin skin because they're so you know what I'm trying to say? Like they're trying, like the reason that they go on the internet in part is, I mean, there's maybe the monetary reason, but also it's like this projection of this false ego. You know what I mean?
I think there's a lot of that actually. I think a lot of people get on these things, and it's like, you know, that's why a lot of people get involved with various fringe politics. And I mean, you could see this right and left. It's they're kind of a loser, and they kind of want to get this. Well, someone I used to know, very ironically, it turned out, used to call it going after narcissistic supply. And there's a lot to that. They,
Yeah.
they just want to feed this false image of themselves.
Yeah, I think that's really it. I think, and because people who have this false, and then it's a vicious cycle because the larger this false image gets, the more invested they are in protecting it. Does that make sense? Like,
I think there are some people who get into it because they just like to entertain. They're just a circus ringleader. They're just a comedian, a clown, whatever. They just want to put on a show. They're just showmen. Maybe they have a political agenda, and maybe that influences what they're doing and all. But ultimately, it's about putting on a show. Those guys, I think, tend to do a lot better than the people that are out there from the start to form a cult of personality. Because there are certain people that accidentally fall into that and get eaten up about it. But there are a lot of people that, from the start, that has been their goal. Uh, I've often used the distinction: there's certain people who think that they're there for their audience, and there's people that think their audience is there for them.
mhm.
And the latter are always going to self-destruct.
Yeah, no, that's very true, and
The
and and and
former
that's
will
been there's a
often
thousand
self-destruct.
examples of that.
Yeah, the former will often self-destruct. Um, the former will often crash and burn, but the latter always.
Yeah, people don't. Yeah, they start to. Well, they it's a form of self delusion where they actually buy into this internet character they created. Like, they really believe that they're Batman. Or you know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
just
they're gonna save the West.
they're
They're on
gonna
a
save the
mission.
West. They're on a mission. I mean, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's interesting now. I don't know how much you paid attention to it, but like all the stuff that's going on within the pickup artists community, like those guys are totally. I mean, they've like fallen upon each other like a pack of hyenas.
Oh, I bet. No honor among thieves.
Yeah, like those guys are totally just, you know, devouring each other. And
Especially now. Like 10 years ago, there was a lot more genuinely honest people in that just wanted to figure things out. They knew society had sold them a bill of goods, and they were trying to get to the bottom of stuff. But most of those guys, you
oh
know,
god.
yeah, they said what they wanted to say. They read what they wanted to read, and then they moved on with their life. Maybe they went and got themselves a woman and started a family and went and just they fucked off. Or if they stayed a content creator, they transitioned into something else. You know,
Right.
but the guys that are still doing the I'll teach you how to be a level 9 Sigma grift. Um, I mean, what else can you say about them?
Yeah, well apparently like now they're just all eating their own and like this I think this is I mean I guess there was I never really knew the inside of that because I was never really uh close with any of those guys, but the I did watch it from afar, but apparently now they're all you know, what's the guy? The guy from the 21 convention. He always wears like a MAGA hat. Um, him and this guy Donovan Sharp, who he used to be partners with, is and he's also against Rolo, and all these guys are making videos against each other, and it's totally eating their own. I mean, it's just I mean, it's kind of fun to watch because I basically think they're all just a bunch of fucking full of shit
This is why
grifters.
we need internet blood sports back. We need to get these
Yeah,
guys on live stream so they can argue about who slays more pussy, bro.
well, yeah, well, that's another thing is like some of these people have made some serious money on this, and it's like you look at these guys, and it's like like one of the guys. I'm not even going to give him credit for saying his name, but like this guy, like hasn't been on a date in 25 years, and people are buying his books on picking up women. I mean, what, are you out of your mind? You know,
You
and
crush puss, bro.
yeah, and he married like an older woman, and well, when he was in his 30s, so he was like 31, and she was like 35 or something. I was like, is this a guy you're gonna take? Is this a guy who's slaying pussy? I mean, it's like, come on, you know. And then like that Donovan Sharp guy. I mean, did you see his wife? I mean, she's a fucking wildebeest.
I don't know with these guys, man. I don't trust a lot of guys that you know when guys are talking about it in theory. Like I've seen this work, it's worked for me. When it's that sort of more detached thing, I'm more inclined to. But when guys are out there just telling you like when they're trying to portray like, I'm this this pussy slaying alpha. You should all listen to me. I I don't know, man. It's just I doubt it. You know what I mean? Like I almost feel like the guys that are that good with women just don't even understand what they are. Like those are the guys that have never had to think about it. Those are the guys that tell you just be yourself.
Yeah, just be
You know what I mean?
yourself.
Because that's what fucking worked for me. Why wouldn't it
Yeah.
work for you? Like
Yeah, well, it's kind of like someone who's like 7'1" and he's a basketball star, and like someone who's like 5'2" says, I want to be great at basketball, and the guy says, well, dude, just be yourself, bro. It's
yeah,
like,
just
no, that's not
yeah,
gonna
you
work.
just you just jump and throw the ball into the hoop.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I went to like Shaq and I said, could you train me how to be a great basketball player? And he's like, just be yourself. That's not gonna work. No matter how hard I train, I'm never gonna be.
You
I'm not.
if when you're that good at something, you almost can't teach it.
Mm, yeah.
I'll give you a good example. My dad, my father's a mechanic his whole life, basically. Been around cars, and he's driven cars since before he could drive. You know what I mean? Like he just absolute car guy. I literally, as a teenager, could not learn to drive from him. Like
Oh, because he could relate to the fact
he
that.
could, yeah. I this was all new to me. I'm like, oh, fine. And I mean, like, explain how to walk to someone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You just put one foot in front of the other. Like, so I kind of reached a point where like I was having him teach me a couple of times, and I'm like, this is frustrating. I was working a job. I'm like, I'm just gonna pay someone to teach me.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I'm like, no, you can't. You are actually this comes too naturally for you to a to, to possibly teach it to somebody.
No, that's very true. Um, I remember there was when I was learning to fly. This is years ago. There was this flight instructor that I worked with. I only worked with him once because the guy my usual flight instructor was out that day, and this guy was the best. I mean, he was amazing. Like how well he could control the airplane was like unbelievable. But he was such a natural at flying that he couldn't get it that I wasn't as quick as he was. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like one of my biggest fears, like when you learn how to fly, one of the things you have to learn how to do is to pass your what they call your check ride, is induce a stall. Like that's where you
Mm-hmm.
point the plane up to the point where it loses lift and it starts to fall. And it's just terrifying feeling. And your natural impulse, right, when you start to fall, is to pull back on the yoke, right, because you're going down. Right? That's the worst thing to do, right, because you need to level out to. I don't want to get in the
Mm-hmm.
whole physics of it. But yeah, anyway, but this guy was so good at inducing a stall, like he could do it like just like doing a stall with like his 2 feet, like controlling the Uh, the oh fuck, I'm blanking on the anyway. That he could do it like so quick, but I couldn't do it like he could. You know what I mean? And he just couldn't get that. You know what I mean? Because he was such a natural.
Yeah,
So he could.
I've noticed before, like if you're playing a video game, like let's say I'm playing Mario Kart and somebody comes over and they haven't played it before, and they're like, oh, how do I launch a weapon? How do I launch the turtle shell? And I have to think about like what button, even though I do it all the time. I have to like look down. I'm like, wait, what button do I push to do that? Because
Right,
like
because
literally,
it's
you're
muscle memory
doing
for
it.
you.
Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
like I don't know. You just do it. Like you have to think. Well, what button is that again?
Yes, exactly. And that doesn't make so being good at something doesn't mean you're a good teacher at something. In a way, if you're well, I mean, you should have a level of competence before you teach anything. But um, if you were that good at it, you got to go. You really have to work about trying to understand. Um, like actually, one of the best martial arts instructors I ever knew. He was really good, but what made him really good was that he always could calibrate his movements to the level of skill of his students. And this guy worked with everybody from like right off the street till this guy was he actually became a sixth-degree black belt while I was training under him.
Hmm.
So he worked with every skill level. And what made him such a brilliant teacher was he could calibrate to that. He would be able to come down to your level. It was almost like a magician the way he could do it. It was amazing.
Yeah, but these guys are like, oh, I'm a pussy slaying alpha. Trust me, you got. I know how to. And a lot of the advice they give you is like, this is all outdated shit. Like, I every once in a while when I pop into these guys, I'm like, this is all like 2015. Like, none of this works anymore. Okay, you got to understand, like the principles might be okay there, but like it's like the Borg. These women have adapted to your bullshit these days. You know what I mean? Like
They've adapted.
you can't blatantly go and try and nag a woman to hit on her because she's either gonna be the type of girl that's just gonna take it personally and think you're an asshole and tell you to fuck off, or if she's the kind of woman that ever would have worked on, she's heard of that now. She knows what the fuck you're doing, and it doesn't work anymore.
You reminded me. I did that just to be a dick one time. I was at a 4th of July party. This is about like 6 or 7 years ago. And I said to the chick, I said, did you have to pay extra like when you got the streaks in your hair? Did you have to pay extra to leave the roots dark? And she started crying. Needless to say, I didn't get laid.
The funniest one I ever did was I can't remember what it was. I think I had like an air freshener in my car that was like some chick in a bikini or something, looked like Grand Theft Auto art or something, and you know some girl was like some girl I was on a date with was like, oh, do you have a problem with objectifying women? And I just go, no, I'm fine with
No, well, that's good. That's funny.
it.
Yeah, that's you know, um, that's not cruel. That's just throwing it back. That was quick. And that's kind of part of your personality there, Chris. You are kind of you kind of have that genetic gift of being, what's the word? Like the comebacks. You kind of have that. That's kind of your personality.
Well, given the types of women I often date, that's bitten me in the ass. Some of these
Oh yeah, that's right. You
some of the
because of
dynamics.
mommy issues.
Yeah, some of
So
the
the women that you
dynamics
date
I
have.
have with women, I've and even then, like I can't help it. So I gotta know, like I gotta like okay, like how far can I do before she's genuinely mad? Like, which is occasionally a very painful learning process.
Yeah. I don't even think no matter who she is can beat that out of you. That's just innate. They just
Not totally, not totally. Like
not totally.
I gotta know where the line is. Like, but I'm gonna go right up to the line. Right
Yeah.
up to the line. I,
I
I,
imagine like other women like, I tried, but you just can't break this guy. He's
I was dating the one, shall we say, mommy dom, and one of the things that she was big on, she hated when somebody used, I guess, the misogynistic swear words. She like bitch and cunt and stuff like that. and I swear up a storm. Like I have
No.
since I was a teenager. So I can't remember what I did. Like I was bitching about somebody I work with. I was like, she's such a cunt. And that was when she was like, okay, that's a rule now. She was not happy about that. So then later, I'm talking about it. Oh, like an ex girlfriend had came up because I was like, oh, you. This was back in the 2000s. We didn't have all those modern conveniences you do. And I mentioned that I had a really nice mix CD that I had made, and some ex girlfriend like kept it and just would not give it back to me. And she's like, why wouldn't she give it back to you? I'm like, I don't know. She's being a c word, I guess. And she just looked at me, and I'm like, what? That's not.
Yeah, you just said C word. You didn't use the.
Yeah, I didn't use it.
But that was like a violation of the rules, right? So then she had to like add a new rule or something, right?
No, that was I again. That was me testing. She was like, "Watch it." Like,
Uh,
but
yeah, I
yeah, that's
briefly
always.
dated. I did tell you this. I briefly dated a woman of that temperament, um, or that well, not temperament. That proclivity recently, and it didn't work out. Apparently, I'm not compatible with women like that.
It can be exhausting. I,
Yeah,
I
and
dated I dated one that was like a fucking drill sergeant. Like, goddamn. Like, I mean, that was the kind of woman that texts you, and you just like you see her name pop up on your phone, like, oh god, what
oh no,
now?
it's like your boss, like when you're on call, you get like
Yeah,
those
it's
texts. Yeah,
just
no, I
it's
know that feeling. Yeah. But yeah, like I just don't have, I mean, I guess the only reason I even like remotely got involved with this chick, like, dude, she literally had her tits were literally J's, like a J cup.
oh damn.
Yeah, man. Well, she was 5'10", so she could carry it, but still they were enormous and total fucking nympho. I mean, we were in bed within 90 minutes of meeting. I mean, we had met over. I
Well,
mean, in real life.
those types of girls, they're not. I mean, by nature, those are women that are just going to go after what they want. They're not. They're not going to be playing coy. They're not going to be playing like. They don't play
No,
games. They really don't.
no.
If they
It's a,
want it,
it's a
they're going to
little
get it.
it's a little unsettling though because I never dated uh, one of those types before, so it kind of threw me.
The
Like
first
I
time I
was.
dated one that really that was just how she was. It wasn't like playing around in the bedroom kind of thing or something. It was a bit much. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's something that had always been, something I got off to in the bedroom is now just the dynamic all the time, and
Yeah, be careful what you wish for. I guess is what I'm trying to say, because if I mean to in the bedroom you might want to switch it up a little bit, like she puts the handcuffs on you instead of you on her. That might sound fun, but like outside the bedroom when they're trying to do that, at least for me, I'm just not wired that way. Like I get nothing out of that, and then it just becomes like you were talking about when you get the text message, like, oh fuck,
well,
you know.
again, I dated two different ones where that was the whole dynamic of the relationship, and it was almost two opposite poles. Like the one, I never had a problem with her. Like I never, it never felt over. Well, I mean, sometimes, but for the most part, it never really felt overwhelming or just exhausting. The other one was just, if the one was like a mommy, the other one was like a drill sergeant. And just on my ass all the time about shit. And in all fairness, I hate to give her credit because fuck her, she was a cunt. But that particular one, I mean, I dated her for about 4 months. No, maybe closer to 6. I had lost weight. I was hitting the gym all the time. I had a fucking budget. I was more organized because I fucking had to be. You know what I mean? So
All right,
I have to give her credit. A lot of it was fucking good for me. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of it I fucking needed. It's just like if you could have just toned it down a little bit, like just give me a break once in a fucking while.
yeah, but see the thing about boot camp is though
Yeah,
it
boot camp's only
ends.
like 3 months, isn't it? Like
Right, it's supposed to end, so you
it's
can't.
just not life now.
Yeah, you can't perpetually be in a state of boot camp because, well, I mean, maybe some guys that works for them, but I don't know. I mean, I think you just die of a stress overdose and have a
Yeah,
coronary.
you can't just be like, well, this is just life now. Like that's not.
No, I mean, yeah, you might say, well, I have a lot of, I have a great budget and I'm in good shape, but I'm fucking terrified every time the fucking text little alarm goes off on my phone for the rest of my life. I don't. It's no way to live.
Oh God, and she was. I was in like my mid to late 20s at this point. This was probably like 09, 2010 ish, and she was much younger. She was damn near 10 years younger than me, actually. And she was like, a
I think
fresh
she was still in
college student.
college. Yeah, she was.
Which I mean, that's part of why I put up with her for so long because it just, oh my god, dude,
Getting that college
probably the
pussy.
second hottest, physically speaking, woman I ever dated. Um, and I mean, just a petite little thing too, like it's, you know, um, almost think like that little blonde girl on the couch, the porn star, like almost think like her, only more shapely.
Oh, with some actual curves.
And but she was such a spoiled bitch. Which I mean, partly because of her temperament, and oh my god, she was exhausting. But when I broke up with her, finally, I was finally like, look, I fucking hate you. I don't know. I can't stand this anymore. This is exhausting. And she didn't take that well. Little popular girl, little fucking, that the 10 years her senior fucking dork broke up with her. I mean, she fucking read me the riot act.
Well, that's
Like,
an ego blow to her. Of course she's gonna do that.
I'm just like, okay, you done? Because I'm gonna hang up now. Like, and then,
But you did it over the phone. Oh shit!
yeah, I'm sorry, dude.
You were just such a pussy.
I can't. I got. I just no. I just had to do it over the phone. Like, that's, god damn it. And part of it was I blew up because part of it was she had called me and she gets on my ass about something, and I was just like, god damn it, enough. But then, like 3 weeks later, I think it was, she accidentally sends me nudes that were meant for the new guy. Like, okay, sure. And that was when I realized I wasn't a young man anymore because I wake up, my alarm would go off at like 7, and I get these nudes at like 6, which is probably when her fucking college ass was going to bed after partying. But I get these nudes Monday morning at 6, and I'm like, what the fuck? I look at my clock and I'm like, you couldn't have waited an hour? Like, I was actually just mad that you woke me up an hour early. It,
Well, there was nothing she was sending you that you hadn't already seen. So
it's true, but I mean, me from years earlier, like, yeah, I would have just been like, nice, but like, I was just like, leave me alone.
well, I hope you save those and send it to me later. But anyway,
Oh, no, I don't. I saved them on that phone, but I never thought to back them up. So when that phone bit the dust, that was the end of that.
that's too bad.
They weren't high res though. This was like 2010ish, so I mean, I didn't have a smartphone or nothing like that. They were literally just. I had phones that you could get pictures, but it was like early picture phones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm sure if I uploaded it now, it would look like a thumbnail picture, like now, like resolution now.
Yeah, really. Everybody's used to like 4K Ultra and all that kind of shit. Yeah, I hear you.
Uh,
Um, yeah, most of my good homemade porn that I've made is dates back because I don't know. I mean, I should have done. I don't know. I mean, the chicks I've dated are actually. I noticed that a lot of the chicks I've been with they're hyper terrified about anyone taking pictures of them.
well,
Uh,
nowadays, I mean, like back before the internet was so prevalent, who cared? You know what I mean? But nowadays, you know, the, I mean, I'm old enough to remember you took a picture of your girlfriend, it was with a fucking Polaroid. You know what I mean? But even in the early days of like phones and all, like nobody was like I'm not back in like 2010, and it's not even a smartphone. I'm not from my phone going to upload this to a porn site. That's not going to happen.
right.
So like yeah, back then was way more of a free for all. Now A girl's either terrified of you taking pictures, or if she doesn't care, you almost got to question that, you know?
Well, yeah, that's even worse. Like if a chick doesn't care, I'm wondering like what am I sticking my wee wee into? You know, I mean, but I remember actually remember those. You reminded me now. There was this chick I was with. This is 10, 12 years ago. Um, what are we? 2021 now? Holy fuck, yeah. Um, uh, and I remember her saying like if you have a camp, like she was convinced that I had a camp. It's a long story, but anyway, so we're back at my place and we're fucking, and she's like, you better not be recording that, like just out of nowhere that came from, you know. And she's like, if you are, I'll sue you. And the funny thing is, she literally is a lawyer. So that was
I mean, revenge porn laws exist for a reason, and I'm totally on board with them. Like that's a legit law. Like so you fucking doing that to somebody without their permission, that's fucked up. Um, but yeah, nowadays you gotta be fucking, you know, never put your face in the picture, I guess.
yeah. But I mean, is it like revenge porn? Is it like yeah? I mean, and a lot of and let's well, I mean, I'm too old to have really experienced this, but I mean, now from what I understand, you got like high school girls sending their boyfriends fucking snatch pics and shit like that. So
Well, now you get some of these like some overzealous DA will literally go after some of these teenagers for child porn, you know, because you know, two 16-year-olds are fucking, you know, because everybody has a phone now. Two 16-year-olds are sending pictures of their junk to one another, and I just think like, well, I mean, if I was 16, I'd have been doing and had smartphones, we'd have been doing the same fucking thing.
I think you covered a story like that on your channel once.
But yeah, they go after these kids for they ruin, in some cases, just try to ruin their fucking life over this shit. And it's just,
Yeah, were they going to be a registered sex offender at 16 to life?
I mean, I hate to talk about like age of consent laws because I know that you know there's obviously you know the cuties crowd that wants to make those ages 9 or something, but they probably should be lower than 18.
Um,
I mean,
I
I
don't
would
know. I
probably put
guess
them
because I'm
closer
so
to
old.
16.
I'm so old now. Like I'm pretty comfortable with 18.
Well, yeah, I'm
Uh,
not. It's not for my sake. I'm saying this. It's just me. It's not. You know, a 20-year-old is about as fucking obnoxious as I could possibly deal with. But I just like I feel bad for these kids. Like at least when I was in high school, the average age for a boy to lose his virginity was 17. Maybe with these Zoomers being such ridiculous fucking incels, that age has gone up. I don't fucking know. But back then, the average age was 17. That was when most people lost their virginity, and that's when I did. Um,
actually,
so if
that's okay. Someone gives it an AMA. I'll tell you when I lost my virginity.
okay, if the average age, and that's the average, right? When people are become sexually active is a year younger than when legally you're allowed to. Maybe the law's just a little fucked up. So
Yeah, well, from what I understand, I know it varies from state to state, but I mean the way the law works is like if you're 18 and she's 16, I don't think that's a crime, is it? Like there has.
some places, some states, and then there's not sometimes even county by county that can be different. It depends. Again, you know, there are cases of 16-year-olds that got you know charged with distributing child porn because you know she took a picture of her titties and sent it to her boyfriend. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, but I'm just saying like if I fucked a 16-year-old, I should go to jail. The way I see it.
you know, there's that old joke where a cop, you know, some cars parked off where you know people like to fool around, and a cop's knocking on the window, and inside he sees you know the girls, you know the girls reading a book. The guy's like playing a you know playing a game on his smartphone or something, you know, and the cop's like, "What's going on here?" And he's like, just hanging out." And he's like, "How old are you?" He goes, "I'm 19." And he goes, "How old is she?" And he looks at his watch and he goes, "In about 20 minutes, she'll be 18."
I never heard that one. I like it.
Uh, my high school sweetheart at the time was literally basically exactly a month younger than me, and I remember that entire month. Every time we'd fool around, she'd be like, "You broke the law, I'm telling." Like
And I'm
I really
guessing
don't know
if
it.
this is the chick I'm thinking about, she had been around the block a few times more than you had.
No, my high school sweetheart and I, we pretty much. I mean, we've both been around the block, but it was each other's block, you know.
I hear you.
But we had done quite a bit up until the point
Right, right. Yeah.
when the floodgates opened. They opened. Nano in the chat says, "I can respect a woman who just comes straight out and actually tries to change a guy directly and honestly." I mean, like I said, in all honesty, I mean, I can't.
That's a
You
good
know,
point.
she, you know, there's nothing she was trying to impose on me that I did not agree. Yes, this is for my benefit. Like, yes, I should be in better shape. You know, I should budget better. Like, fine, all right, all that. I should be more organized. You know, it's just maybe you needed to tone down the intensity a bit.
Yeah, that Also, I mean, I only had the one experience, but it is recent. Um, Dating a girl like that is, I always felt like I was being graded during sex.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that, man. I'm not, I don't, that inhibits my performance.
Yes, yeah, a woman like that, sex is a chore. Trust me. I mean, it can be fucking a chore. Let me put it that way. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say it was ever
I
not
wasn't cool with
fun,
that,
but
man. I felt like it was like, it's all. Well, the one thing I will say for this chick was she had this thing that she did with her hips that was just absolutely amazing. Like when she got on top, that was,
those
unbelievable. I
kind
will
of
give her
girls.
that.
I mean, look, I've heard it said once. You know, in sex, one person is being fucked and the other person is fucking, and sometimes that isn't so much who's being penetrated as who's being in control. And yeah,
Yeah,
I've had girls hop on top of me, and I was being fucked.
I
In
was
that
being
moment, like
used. I was being used. I mean,
this was,
it was like from what was that movie, American Pie
yeah,
or
this
whatever it
was a
was.
thing that was happening to me. This
Yeah,
was
I was like, and she was on top and she was riding, and I had no choice. Like I was staying there, And another thing about her was she was 5'10", and most of the girls I dated are not that big, not fat, but I mean just that height, and she wasn't thin, but not fat in any way. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, and she was aggressive and assertive, and when she had my hands, she's on top and she's holding my hands by my wrist. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, as long as that dick is hard, she's just gonna keep riding it,
well, that happens.
and I had no say in the matter. And I think my dick was happy. I'm not sure how I felt about it. I
Uh,
still don't know. I think maybe I could file a complaint.
you
I'm
should
not
me too
sure.
her.
Yeah, maybe I could meet to her because I don't know. I was like, he's like, well, your dick was hard. I was like, yeah, of course it was, but I mean, you never asked. I mean, you know, did I give affirmative consent? No.
Uh, did you ever see the pickup artist David Bond?
Nah, I don't know
He's
that.
not really in with a lot of the manosphere crowd. He's literally a sex tourist that then sells stupid people how to when all he does is go to Thailand, you know, and give some 15-year-old $5 and fuck her. You know what I mean? But somehow he's able to like try and sell dumb, sell shit to idiots online. The Revenge of the Cis guys made fun of him a lot, and like he's really one of those guys like you just look at him like this guy's a sociopath. Like this guy is just this is a monster. Like
Because of him fucking the 15-year-olds, or
no,
because
just
you're
like you
selling the
just look in
bullshit?
his eyes. You know, you just see
Oh,
like, oh yeah, this guy's a fucking sociopath. Like this is
well, yeah. I mean, I think what's that expression of physiognomy?
yeah,
I think
I
that.
know the word. I'm not sure how to pronounce it either. I've literally never heard the word said. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
right? Like I think that's real. Like, 'cause I remember like a long time ago. I don't know if we had this discussion on air, but we were talking about that porn actress Sasha Grey,
Mm-hmm.
and like I never found her attractive. Not I'm not saying like she's ugly, like empirically like ugly, but I always felt like the look in her eyes was like, yeah. I always think of that line from Jaws where they were saying like, a doll's eyes, like dead eyes, like there's
I
not. I mean,
hate to say this because it sounds so sappy and fucking simpy, but like back in my heavy porn consumption days and all, the ones that would like really do it for me, where I'd look up all their videos once I stumbled across them, it was mostly the face that really got me like, okay, I gotta look up, because at least back then, most porn stars had good bodies. You know what I mean? You know, most of them were, in the very least, in good shape. You know, I mean,
Yeah, well, the successful ones,
yeah,
yeah,
that's what they did. But like, the ones that had really nice eyes and stuff like that, those are the ones that could really suck you into a performance, for lack of a better word. And yes, some of them just look fucking dead. And I mean, they probably all are. In all fairness, I mean, for fuck's sake, what they do for a living, you know.
I mean,
But
if they
like,
didn't go into it that way, they came
yeah,
out.
but
If they had to sell when they started, they lost it before they left. Yeah.
some of them just like holy shit, man, just like horrifying looking at them. And again, it ain't because they're unattractive. Well, I mean, perfect example of somebody that's like, how is anybody jerking off to this? Is Hannah Hayes. Now, I mean, that's
Which one
because
was?
she's the one that's actually retarded. That like Matt Forney
Oh, was
covered
that the
that.
lizard?
Yeah, the
The
emotional support
lizard.
lizard girl. And it's funny because like when Matt Forney, I was like chat before he even went live with that story. I'm chatting with Forney on Skype. I'm like, what are you doing on the show today? He goes, I'm covering a porn star that's retarded. And me, I'm thinking like, is there like a Down syndrome porn star now? Is that how far we've descended? I'm like, what do you mean she's retarded? He goes, look up Hannah Hayes. So I, hop over to the Bing, image search Hannah Hayes, and I'm like, she seems fine. She seems cute enough. What's wrong with her? And he goes, no, no, no. Like, listen to her. Oh, okay. Click. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is horrifying. Like,
No,
she's
actually, I was
retarded.
kind of spooked out by that. That kind of freaked me out
She's
because
retarded. Yeah.
she was like literally retarded, and there's no way she had. There's no way she could consent to anything. I mean,
But yeah, that thing, like, you could just see, like, look, we tell kids that you can't judge a book by its cover. And the reality is that you can't always judge a book by its cover, you know, but often you can. That's what a cover is for.
yes.
And yeah, a lot of times I was about like 19 or 20 when it really dawned on me it was when I was working at Burger King after high school, dealing with the public so much. It really dawned on me how utterly predictable most people are. How much most people just fall into a neat little fucking box. It kind of horrified me at the time, you know, because I just never really knew that. But like dealing with the public, I mean, I used to like play a game, when I'm at the drive-through, and I just like I'd hear someone's voice, and I just, as soon as I'm done taking their order, real quick, I'd look at somebody else up there, and I go, bet you this person looks like blah blah blah, and around they come, and boom, there you go.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm picturing a big fat middle-aged woman in a minivan and like that curly fucking hair, weird fro that middle-aged women get when they give up. I'm picturing that. And around comes exactly what the fuck I said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could just do that like 9 out of 10 times.
Well, I mean,
Just
that kind of
hearing
goes
their
back
voice.
to the what was that quote by George Carlin? He goes, "Think about how stupid the average person is, and now imagine that half of all the people in the world are dumber than they are."
I mean, it's frightening. And it was really one of those things where I just never wanted to believe that people were like, but then dealing with the public, you're like, oh yeah, people are fucking stupid.
Yes, people are stupid.
When I was at the Dirt Mall, when I was at the flea market selling comics, I will never forget this. And I'm glad my other two guys that ran it with me were there and saw it, because I'd have sworn I had a stroke and imagined it otherwise. This fat fucking Obama phone black lady comes by and like points at a fucking like boxes of comics and asks, "Is these DVDs?" And I stood there like, "Am I having a stroke?" You know what I mean? I was like,
I'll be like,
I'm in my
yeah,
30s now. I need to. Do I smell burnt toast? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, am
exactly.
I
It's like,
okay? And she meant DVDs.
no, I know, I
Why
know.
you mistook a box of comics as potentially being DVDs in the first fucking place? But is these DVDs? I just, I think one of my friends was like, no, no, they're not. I stood there just fucking just speechless. I'm like, what? What?
Unplug me from the Matrix. I want to die.
Is this, I mean, I think I even said to my friend, I'm like, am I having a stroke? Did that just happen? Like,
Yeah, there's. I think we've all had experiences like that where we're just. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that I've encountered, and it's kind of interesting because I'm old, and I've encountered people like even in like the professional world, like business owners, attorneys, stuff like that. People who had you know reasonable success in life, professionally, financially, whatever. And like some of the shit, like how dumb some of them are. I'm like, dude, I don't know how you get dressed in the morning. Never mind fucking run a business. I mean, literally, I'm shocked sometimes.
well, I mean, one of the things that just drove me up the fucking wall when I worked at Burger King, back right out of high school and all, is people would just be like, what's like they would ask questions about like menu items that were just the dumbest fucking questions. And like if you go to Burger King, for example, or you go to Wendy's or McDonald's, right? And there's a new sandwich out, or just one of the regular sandwiches, there is a picture up there that is a professional fucking picture that a fucking professional chef put this together, and then a professional photographer put this together to clearly show everything that's on the fucking sandwich. It don't look like a picture when you get it. Okay, it's all smashed together and shit.
Right.
But you look at the picture at this immaculate fucking Whopper, and you can clearly see everything that's on it. And people
Yeah,
would
you can see
ask,
the pickle, you can see the
yeah,
cheese, you can
people
see the
would
little
ask
bit of onion.
questions like, "Is this on it?" And I just like, I couldn't help it. I was part of why I just couldn't do that job long term, like, but I just would like point. Like I wanted to get one of those like, I guess like pointers, like an antenna, like you pull it out, and I wanted to just like start slapping it on the board, like as we could clearly see right here, like womp, like like. But they just like, is your lettuce in the Whopper? I'm like, well, as we can see right here, there's green stuff right at the top of the sandwich. Like,
Well, it's like you ever see the TGI Friday menu, or I don't know if they still have it that way, where they just have pictures of everything. It's like you go to a restaurant, they have they list the food. Like TGI Fridays, you just have a picture of a burger instead of like saying a burger. You just point to it like I want this. Like it was basically scaled down to the lowest possible IQ. Like you just point like a fucking mongoloid or something.
oh my god, the funniest menu picture I've ever seen. This place isn't around anymore. And it's a shame. It was called Wow Wingery. It was right next to the Franklin Marshall College. Really good chicken wings. They had this item on the dessert menu. Now I want you to picture this item, right? It's almost like a dessert burrito. Like it's like a bunch of dessert items wrapped in like a crepe. You know what I mean? Like a really thin
Yeah, I know what
pancake.
grapes are.
So it's wrapped like a fucking burrito, basically. So it's got like caramel and bananas and stuff like that, all wrapped up in this crepe, right? And then the crepe is cut in half, and it's served with a single scoop of vanilla ice cream. And it was called like the Zanga or something like that, the banana Zanga or something like that.
Sounds like a heart attack on a plate, but anyway, keep going.
Very, very good. But the way this picture was taken, so again, this we'll call it a burrito still. This dessert burrito is cut in half, right? Somehow the person that took this picture, half of the burrito is facing directly at the camera, so it looks like a circle. The other half of the burrito is standing up, and then there's the scoop of ice cream. Now, are you picturing what this looks like?
Right. Yeah, I think so. I think I know where you're going.
So I like every time we were there, my buddies and I were always looking at this, and it's like it doesn't look like that at all when you get it. You know what I mean? And for the longest time, it sounded awesome, and I'm kind of like wanting to order it, but I feel weird ordering the fucking dessert cock and balls. You know what I mean? And the one night I'm there and I'm hanging out with some buddies, and I've maybe had a drink or two because I'm not driving. And I finally, after we wings and all, I say to the waitress, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and order this thing here that looks like the cock and balls. And the waitress just bursts out laughing. She goes, I know, right?
Yeah, everybody's thinking it, but no one says it, kind of
But
a thing.
I often wonder, like, why did they take the picture like that? Is that like a joke?
Well,
Is that trying to be like that? It almost couldn't have been by accident. You know what
no,
I mean?
I'm thinking they probably did know, and like whoever was in, they hired an advertising company to do it, and whoever was in charge of it, like, didn't catch it, kind of a thing. Like some,
I feel like the guy who was supposed to take the pictures took a bunch of pictures and threw that in as a joke, and
and
somehow it got to one day like he's going like, dude, the guy he picked the cock and balls, but I don't know why he did that.
yeah, like some guy who was like a latent homosexual said, I don't know why, but this one appeals to me.
This one speaks to me. uh, I miss that place, man. It was one of those wing places that had 50 wing flavors. You know what I mean? Like wings was the main thing they did. So you go in
You
there,
know
there's
what?
like,
You know how like you don't like bacon, which
mm-hmm.
I still think that's bizarre, and you should seek psychiatric help for that. But besides that, I don't really like wings.
Hmm.
Not a wing guy. They just.
I've always
I,
been a wing guy, man. I'm one of them guys that like me and Buddy, especially back in my more hedonistic youth days, we could just hit one of them wing places and just fucking put. I have my picture on walls for eating suicide wings at places. You know what I mean?
yeah, but what's this attraction to eating shit that's so fucking hot that your fucking lips burn? I
I
don't
don't
get it.
know, John. Maybe it's the same reason I dated a chick that treated me like I was in fucking boot camp. All right, maybe that's
Maybe.
maybe I just like things that hurt me because I have deep seated issues.
Yeah, I mean I don't like like they're hot as fuck, and it's like no matter how many times you lick your lips, it's still burn. I mean
Well,
it.
I like spicy food in general. Now, yeah, there's some spicy food where it's like this is obviously over the line, but I don't know, man. Like, I went to a place one time where they had fire skins on the menu, like potato skins soaked in this hot sauce, and literally under the listing for it, all it said about them was warning: do not order the fire skins. And to me, I'm like, well, the menu just called me a pussy, so guess who's ordering the fire skins? Like, fuck you.
Well, I always think it's brilliant that someone got people to pay money for fucking potato skins. My scraps. People are actually.
Honestly, they weren't even good because it was one of those hot sauces that was just heat, like no real flavor to it, just heat. You know what I mean? Like I like a brutally killer hot sauce that like has flavor still, has you know, there's more to it than just Tabasco sauce cranked up to
Yeah,
11.
they're just a burn. Yeah.
But I ate it.
Yeah, I just. Maybe it's because I'm Irish and I have that Irish palate. Like my ancestors just ate fucking potatoes without salt. So, maybe that's it. I don't know. Um, or what is was it your grandfather or your great grandfather said about my people? I don't know.
I mean, like I'm literally those like peppercina peppers, the like if you ever order like a pizza from Papa John's, there's like one of them in the box for some reason with the pizza. They're very hot, but they're also kind of sweet, almost like a banana pepper. I've
Okay.
been known to just like get a jar of those from the grocery store and just eat them one night. Just fucking, I'm just sitting there.
Oh, I think that would put a hole in my stomach if I did that.
It puts a hole in your asshole. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, that's another thing I don't like about the way, and that's well, I think I told you that experience. Probably never spoke
I
about
mean,
it
it
on.
always everything has its price. I just kind of accept like okay, that's part of the
Yeah,
deal. That's just
yeah. No,
price.
I had wings, and I was at a Mariners game years ago, and I ordered wings, which I there's not like a lot of things you can order, um, at a ball game. You know, I guess you can get one of those doughy pretzels or whatever. I don't know. And I ordered the wings, and Jesus Christ, man, those things ran through me. I mean, all I got to say is the bus ride back was pretty frightening. I was turning green and, just praying for the bathroom.
I mean, it happens. It's you just got to realize like okay,
Yeah,
it's a
I was
price to
not
be paid for
prepared.
this.
But anyway, I'll do a free AMA. If someone asks me, I'll give a free one now.
All
So
right, yeah,
someone
feel
in the
free.
chat has an AMA for me, I'll ask it. And, so what do we got? 17 people in here. So I'll give you a free one. You can read it out to me if someone types it out, and I'll do my best to answer it accurately and honestly.
And
And
all the good
no,
wing places in here are gone too. Like Carl's and Charlie's is gone. Wow Wingery's gone. I mean, we got Buffalo Wild Wings, which is good, but they're a chain. They're all over the place.
Everything's a fucking chain now, isn't it?
A lot of things. It's not in this area for
Well,
whatever
it's more
reason.
now, so because of COVID, all the mom and pop stuff is gone and ain't coming back.
Well, interestingly enough, the last time the governor tried to shut shit down in this state, it was the mom and pop stuff that just stayed open in defiance of it. Like there was right around Christmas time, it was only locally owned restaurants that remained open. Nothing happened to them, but all the chains closed again. It's funny because I went to that Japanese place I always go to for Christmas Eve because it was just like I checked with them. I'm like, you guys staying open? And like,
Oh, I remember that. I remember
till
you
they
talking
shut
about
us down.
Yeah. Well, they had balls. I admire that. But the difference is that I guess that they all got what's the word, like a summons against them, and I guess they're going to try to fight them in court. But the big corporate stores are all going to be like, they can absorb the losses because a lot of these things are all traded on the fucking stock exchange.
Well, at least here in PA, both the legislature and the state courts have basically said like, yeah, we're not siding with the governor. It was literally the governor just saying something, and most of the local police even said we're not going to enforce stuff, we're not going to write tickets. That time around Christmas, he really just showed what a paper tiger he was.
Right.
Um, Somebody did ask something. They said, "What martial arts did you do?"
Oh, Taekwondo in college, but only for about a year, and Aikido for about 4.5 years.
Hmm.
And I also, it's related to Aikido, but I also studied Iaido, which is the art of the draw, which
Hmm.
basically means it's katas with a katana, a real blade.
Cool.
So I did a little bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but not um, like I never got a belt in it or anything like that. I mean, uh, but yeah, I did train, not,
Did you
not proficiently
did
anyway.
you ever see the amazing choreographed fights in this movie called Lust and Time of Heartache? Just amazing fight scenes. You should see them sometime.
Okay,
Really well choreographed fight scenes.
really well choreographed.
You'd swear it was a real ninja battle. It really would.
Okay. Yeah. I actually did watch. I did watch a movie that was. I think it totally bombed at the box office, but I really really enjoyed it because the martial. I didn't know at the time because it was long before I ever trained in any martial art, and it was with Scott Glenn, and it was called The Challenge. It came out in 1982, and I just rewatched it for the first time in like 10, 15 years with a buddy of mine.
Hmm.
Um, but the interesting thing about it was the guy that did the martial arts choreography was Steven Seagal.
Oh, cool.
So it's before Steven Seagal was famous or anything. It's when he was still living in Japan before he made Under Siege or any of that stuff. Um, and yes, you know who Scott Glenn is, right? He's made a bunch of
Hmm.
movies.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up then because
no shekels. No one's got any shekels for
nobody got
Chris.
any. I don't know. All week people have been kind of dry with the shekels. Y'all pay pigs let me down.
Let's hold on. Just give a few minutes here. I think someone's got a. Is it someone got a buck? For Christ's sake,
Come on,
someone got a.
guys. You just can't be making with them shekels there.
I want to
Just
see if someone
just
just.
kind of feels like a slow night.
Even if you want to hear if have you heard of Jesus kind of a thing going on
Yeah.
here?
Somebody says Lone Wolf and Cub fan, the original series, I presume. He was so good in that miniseries. Really understood the sword work. Hmm.
Lone Wolf. What is that? Lone Wolf and Cub. What is that?
I There was a comic called that. I don't know if he's referring to that.
I don't know. I'm not familiar.
Like somebody made a comic about like a samurai called that. I don't know if he's referring to that or maybe a movie. I don't know. I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Don't know. Sorry.
Oh.
But anyway, guys, we'll give you like another 30 seconds, or otherwise we're gonna have to wrap it up.
The dog's pestering me. He wants to go out. He's a master of the bad timing. That dog. Though in all fairness, he hasn't been. I was gonna have him out a little earlier. Damn, was it raining? It was like the tropics out there. There's thunder and lightning. That was one of the worst thunderstorms I'd seen in a while. The power kept flickering off too. Like we were gonna do this a little earlier, and I was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, you said we might
Like
have
I
like
can't do it on
black.
my phone, and the routers obviously needs power.
So that's it. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up then.
Alrighty,
Anyway,
well, John, thanks for being on. It's good chatting with you.
yeah, of
Ah,
course.
and folks, if you enjoy the show, do consider supporting it. You can send a donation when I'm not live. Streamlabs.com/Bedglov. PayPal.me/Bedglov. I'll probably put the Amazon wish list down there too if you want that. And that's about it for tonight, folks. I want to thank you all for